Welcome back to Northwest Elite Spirit, the channel you come to train your mind, body, and spirit. I'm Coach Brian. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that now and make sure to ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all of my newest releases. I chased a monster through the Sonoran Desert, 150 miles. I met Adrian Copeland at Bigfoot 200, a roughly 200-mile mountain race held here in Washington State and directed by Destination Trail. I was pacing Tommy Silva for the final 94 miles to the finish line. Adrian saw me out there and caught up with me after the race. We talked a little bit and we agreed that I'd pace him at the Arizona Monster 300, Destination Trail's brand new desert foot race. Leading up to the event, we had a couple of short calls. Adrian has completed Ultraman Australia, a 3-day, 515-kilometer annual endurance race held in Australia. He's also an off-road bike racer. Adrian made it clear he didn't want to stop and he wasn't going to quit. He'd never used a pacer before and he had heard horror stories. Thing at these races is, if your pacer gets sick or gets injured or just quits, you can't leave your pacer behind, and that can cause a DNF, or if you rally them back, it just ends up being a lot of wasted energy. I asked Adrian if he preferred the carrot or the stick, and he had never thought of it that way. Most people think that means chasing a reward or being prodded. It is that too, but it's also about which words or energy spark motion in you. Are you driven by encouragement or challenge? Honestly, I don't think Adrian needed either. He's a self-propelled guy. My plan was to stay out of his way, just to be there like a safety net. And I think that alone eased some tension in his circle, and that let him preserve energy for the miles ahead of him. My role was to keep a respectful distance and check in when needed, stepping forward only if something started to break down. Adrian rolled into Tiger Mine, mile 105. He had been baking in the sun all day. There was little to no shade along the way, just endless exposure. I think his mindset helped him here, his don't stop mindset, because out there stopping invites the sun to just roast you. He looked strong, his mechanics were still good, and his spirits were high. When I pace someone, I start by literally falling into their footsteps, usually about 4 feet behind them. Adrian had a strong hut 2, 3, 4 rhythm, and that's what I was listening for. I matched his steps and tuned in. I observed his posture and movement patterns, so if things started to fall apart, I would know how to help guide him back to his balance and his center. The stretch to Oracle was steady. We didn't talk much, just sinking in with his pace and letting the miles pass. Oracle to Mount Limon, this section was steep and rocky. I stayed in sync with Adrian as much as I could, and I started giving him more space. I heard him grumble a bit about the terrain. It was tough, no question, but to me, that's just part of the deal. These runs will put you in extreme situations, and complaining only burns calories. Then again, he had already logged 106 miles by the time I jumped in, right? We got some rest at Mount Limon and headed out again. The descent was rocky and steep and rough, and I heard other people complaining here and there, nothing out of the ordinary. From Charlotte Gap to Catalina was uneventful, except for me trying an In-N-Out burger for the first time. I didn't like it. I did eat 2. I didn't like their fries either, and I ate 2 servings of fries as well. It's all about the calories out there, right? So Catalina to Relito. So heading out, I started feeling more tired than I expected I should. I didn't feel overheated, but I'm also really good at turning those things off. and the heat did start to wear me down. A couple miles just before Relito aid station, I suddenly dry heaved, and I shook it off. We kept going, and then it happened again. We're moving at a good pace as well. When we finally rolled into Relito aid station, crewed by Captain Matthew Scott Klein and co-captain Sarah Riordan from Montana, I wasn't going to eat, but I changed my mind. I asked around for some ginger, and aid station Captain Matthew gave me some ginger from his personal stash, and I downed a couple ginger candies, down to pizza, and got some rest. I woke up, I still had a slight tickle in my stomach, and on my own I would have risked pushing through, but I didn't want it to flip and me end up holding Adrian back. So he suggested I take a break and catch up at the next pacer pickup, and that was the right call. I chilled with his crew while Adrian kept moving. When he departed, he was looking good. His attitude was good. He had clean form. I hopped back in at Gabe Zimmerman. Same approach, matches footfalls for a while and then slowly fall back. I hung far enough back to give him space, but also stayed close enough so if he were to look for me, he could see me. Zimmerman to Santa Rita. Adrian started favoring one foot. I caught up and asked what was going on, and it turned out he had a big, soft blister. We were close to the aid station, and once he got it taken care of, his form snapped right back, and we rolled out of Santa Rita and headed to Oak Tree. Apache Springs to Casablanca, there was not much drama, just long, big switchbacks in the hot sun, little shade. I saw runners lying or sitting in the sun with shade 10 feet in either direction. We used what little shade we found. And that turned out to be paramount in the end, I think. So somewhere along the way, my left Achilles began to lock up, and I had to stop. We found a shady spot, and I put my feet up, breathing and relaxing the tendon with every exhale. Drifted off into a light sleep and staying focused on that tendon, and that rest made a big difference. My Achilles felt way better, and we got moving again, faster and stronger. And the reason that was great was because there was no shade after that. It was hot for miles and miles. Casablanca to the finish. Ozzy and Angel, friends of Adrian's from Bigfoot, joined us. I'd met them back at Bigfoot too. Adrian took the lead and he set the tone. He expressed that he just wanted to cruise. Ozzy and Angel were down to see how it felt, and it ended up feeling really good. Fast, fluid running. Me in the dark without anything in my hands, and that's my kind of joy. We moved well, even when walking. As we neared the finish, I peeled off so Adrian, Ozzy, and Angel could cross the line with their friends and families. Adrian Copeland is the kind of runner who doesn't flinch when things get hard. He gets quieter, more focused, and he keeps moving. He's methodical without being rigid, tough without being loud about it, a father and a leader in his everyday life. He brings that same grounded strength to the trail. There's no drama in his stride, just steady power and purpose. He doesn't need to be pushed or pulled. He simply decides and then he goes. I got to run in the dark and train the second attention. There was a stretch late in the race when I got to run fast and free through the dark with nothing in my hands, just me and the trail. And that's where I feel my best. Moving through the night like that, I wasn't just pacing Adrian, I was practicing the teachings of Don Juan, holding the second attention. The second attention isn't just focused, it's slipping past the surface layer of thought and perception into something deeper, more fluid. I'd been working on extending how long I could hold it, and out there with nothing but the desert wind and the sound of our footfalls, I could feel time stretch. Minutes became hours, outwards, folded in on themselves, and time wasn't linear anymore. It bent around my attention. When my Achilles locked up, I didn't panic. I found a patch of shade, laid down with my feet uphill, and breathed into the tension. I focused like a hunter, quiet, calm, and tuned in. I let my awareness slide into the tendon, exhaling with purpose, not force, and it responded. I fell into a lucid dream, the kind I've practiced manifesting for years, but I stayed tethered to my physical intention, relaxing the tendon. When I woke up, the pain had backed off and I could move again. And that's power. Learning how to command the body without force, through attention, through presence. Running like this, aware, aligned, quiet, makes me a better stalker. Not just because I can keep up, but because I can listen to the terrain, to the runner, to myself. I can track shifts in posture, in breath, in energy without saying a word. I can give space without disconnecting. I don't need to talk unless something needs to be said. What I was reminded of out there is that most people don't realize how much energy they lose in resistance. Complaining, rushing, forcing things, second guessing. If you stay still inside, even while moving fast, you can serve what matters most. I learned I can go deeper and hold that second attention longer and use it not just for myself, but in service to someone else's mission. Next time, I'll bring that even earlier, even deeper, less reacting and more sensing. The terrain taught me to watch the light. Shade is sacred in the desert, and the moon casts shadows. The people taught me that presence is more powerful than words. The people along the way that come along and help you keep moving. And I taught myself that I can run in silence, navigate pain, and still dream while fully awake. That's what I brought to the trail, and that's what I'll bring next time, only sharper. Pacing Adrian through the Sonoran desert was an honor, not just because of the miles we shared, but because I got to witness a man fully engaged in his own mission. There's something rare about that. He didn't need a motivator, he needed a teammate. Someone to respect the space he had carved out for himself. I learned a lot by running behind him, watching how he handled the heat, the climbs, the setbacks. If you ever get the chance to run with him, take it. You'll come out better for it. So the ride home. The trip home with ultra veteran Lois Peterson was peaceful. My Achilles was still tight, so she handled most of the driving stick. I'm resting now, staying in motion, and staying ready. I can feel the change I've had from this run, a new level mentally, physically, spiritually after this run. And now I'm recovering, hiking short distances with my daughter and my dog, stretching daily, meditating, eating, sleeping, relaxing, smelling the flowers, writing, and working. I look forward to pacing Angel Sanchez at Bigfoot 200, 2025, August 8th through August 12th. Keep your eyes out for that. Once again, I'm Coach Brian with Northwest Elite Spirit, the channel you come to train your mind, body, and spirit. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that now and make sure to ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all of my newest releases. I chased a monster, 150 miles. If you found this content interesting or helpful, hit the like button and comment below. Share with like-minded individuals, and as always, practice. You can sign up to be trained by me personally, online or in person, by contacting me at northwestelitespirit@gmail.com. You can find my books, The ABCs of Strength and Endurance and Running Made Easy, on Amazon and Kindle. Thank you.